What's up, everyone? It is David Smith, aka Armchair, aka Armchair Commentary from Great North Sports. I am here to give you your fantasy football recap, talking about the top 20 players in fantasy football from Week 11, including some honorable mentions. And why don't we start right there? Hopefully you had a good fantasy football day. Mine was mixed. Let's go with the honorable mentions first. Out of the blue, Devin Singletary, 16.7 PPR points yesterday, 24th overall in scoring. Let's go. The Cleveland Browns defense was 17 points. Shout out if you played the Browns defense. Kenny Walker, also an honorable mention, 17.1 PPR points. And my final honorable mention, Mr. James Cook. Totally burned me. Last week should have been a better week. This week we knew that the run defense was going to be a little choppy the other way. We're going to get to the guy that ruined all of me yesterday. Yesterday we had a tough call. Thought it was we had the right call on game script, wrong back. That's what happened. So let's get into the top 20. Number 20. It's your tight end. Number 1 in your hearts. And also number 1 in the tight end book, it's Trey McBride. Trey had 17.5. Jacoby Brissett had himself a day. This is a pretty consistent story for Trey McBride. Ever since Tucker Kraft went out, he has been the guy. He's also been the guy anyway. He's one of the best tight ends in the game. Absolutely dominant. 17.5 fantasy points. Can't hate that. That's a solid performance. I think probably the best tight end in the game right now for fantasy football. Not a stretch. Had a great day yesterday. Not the best day for a tight end, but a great day. Number 19, Mr. Jordan Love, 17.7 fantasy points. Was not a fun day for Jordan Love, but it wasn't his worst day. He certainly had better. 17.7, playing the Giants probably should have been more. Frankly, a 20 spot wouldn't have been out of the question here, but Jordan Love finishes with 17.7 fantasy points. He is your number 19 for week 11. Number 18, Baker Mayfield, just over. That Buffalo game was tough. Baker had some missed opportunities, including a turnover, just a really bad turnover. Probably would have finished a little bit higher. 17.8 fantasy points for Baker. Solid day at the office. Definitely could have put up a 25 or a 30, given how bad Buffalo's secondary has been. But Buffalo came to play. So good for them. Unsurprisingly, number 17 is the first kicker on the board. Probably the only kicker on the board. It's Will Lutz. Won the game against Kansas City for the Denver Broncos, 18 fantasy points. If you're playing with kickers, are you really playing fantasy football? Are you? It's not my favorite. I don't like playing with kickers. I think there's a lot of luck. It's just have a day like 18 points from Will Lutz and everybody else's kicker gets 7. It's just insane. But it is what it is. People like playing with kickers. They are on the list. Will Lutz is the 17th highest scorer from yesterday. Absolutely insane. Number 16, it's another running back, Derrick Henry, finally getting back into some sort of form. Had 18.2 PPR fantasy points yesterday, I should say, on Sunday. We've been waiting for this from Derrick Henry for a while. He has had a couple of really tough goes. This one wasn't one of them. Good for him. Get back on it. Baltimore holds on. Probably should have won this easier, but here we are. Number 15 was the first surprise of the day. Not surprised. It's Michael Wilson, the Cardinals. Jacoby Brissett threw the ball 49 times. Did not have that in my game script. I knew they were going to be down. I figured they would just turn the ball over a lot more. Michael Wilson had himself a day, 18.5 fantasy points. Shout out if you played Michael Wilson. Let us know in the chat that you have Michael Wilson in your lineups. Number 14, It's another tight end. You know him, you love him. George Kittle, 18.7 fantasy points yesterday. He was on a tear, absolutely came back, had himself a big game. San Francisco needed a big game. And that brings us to our next guy, who also had himself a big game. Quarterback Brock Purdy. Let's go. Brock Purdy, 19.3 fantasy points. A couple of guys tied at 19.3. Travis Etienne also at 19.3, and Justin Fields at 19.3. All three had themselves okay days. Fields obviously played on Thursday night against the Patriots. Doing pretty good, Patriots, eh? Patriots are doing pretty good. We like that. Travis Etienne, have yourself a day. Jacksonville, what are we doing? Also, Los Angeles. Can somebody explain to me what the Chargers are? Can anybody explain to me what the Chargers are? And shout out Brock Purdy for coming back. Not a big Brock fan, but he had himself a game. 19.3 fantasy points. That's a good day. Good day at the office. We have our second defense, top 10 defense scoring, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Flacco, no chance. Aaron Rodgers went out in this game, might have a hurt wrist. 21 points for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That defense went off. Last time these two teams played, it was no defense. And the Steelers have been touch and go almost the entire season. Of course, they have some elite players, but they haven't been great. Not one of those games. This game was a phenomenal game for the Steelers. 21 fantasy points. Unbelievable. Great job if you played the Steelers. Our second surprise entry on this week's Week 11 fantasy football top scorers, Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell had 22.5 fantasy points. I can't tell you the last time Kenneth Gainwell had 22.5 fantasy points because I don't know if it's ever happened. Gainwell went 2 touchdowns, ton of receiving yards. Absolutely went ham. Unbelievable. Mrs. Armchair a little upset because Kenny Gainwell's on her bench, but I think she's still going to win her week, so we take the win. But Kenny Gainwell, 22.5. Holy smokes. And that's a standard PPR scoring. Of course, some of these points are going to be different in your leagues if your league scoring is slightly different. That's how she goes. 22.5 in standard PPR scoring. Number 8 is a quarterback who I didn't think would get up here. That's Jacoby Brissett. Didn't think he would have himself a day, but he went out to prove me wrong. 23.9 fantasy football points yesterday. I got to eat a little crow on that one. That's my bad. I didn't think Brissett had it in him. Not yesterday. Niners are a better team. They needed the win more. I didn't think Arizona was going to throw. And I mean, that's the mistake. I should have saw that game script a little better, but I missed it. Number 7, not so much a surprise. Tetairoa McMillan. Old Tet. 25 PPR fantasy points. If you played Tet McMillan, you had yourself a good day. He is the guy. He's the only guy that's catching balls from Bryce Young, who is somewhere on this list, much higher. I don't know if you expected this from Tet in his rookie season. I think we're all waiting to see what the quarterback situation looks like. Is Bryce going to be the guy that gave you 400 yards yesterday, or is Bryce going to be a different guy? What are we going to get there? And it's hard to say. It's hard to understand which one we're going to get. When Bryce is the 400-yard guy, Tet McMillan is untouchable, completely untouchable. We had a bounce-back game for our number 6 entry. That's Bijan Robinson. Finally, welcome back, Bijan. Rushing, receiving, doing everything. Atlanta's still doing Atlanta things, though. 26.3 fantasy points for Mr. Bijan Robinson. We had a breakout game for my guy, TreVeyon Henderson, who scored 27.3 fantasy points. He had 3 touchdowns. It was unbelievable. What a Thursday night. And he cracks the top 5 this week for your Week 11 fantasy football producers. Top PPR points. If you're looking for other league types, let me know in the comments. I can certainly drop like a top 5 scoring at IDP and let you know who the best players are in there. We're going to put this together, a little informational packet so that you have it. You know who has been doing well, so we can maybe figure out who's good at football anymore. We know who's good for the most part. Number 4 is a guy who's pretty good. That's Christian McCaffrey, 30.1 fantasy points. We are all the way up into the 30s now. Everybody else up here is 30 plus is a good day. That's a good day. You can't argue with that. CMC doing it in the air, on the ground. He's just having himself a phenomenal day. Phenomenal day. Number 3 is said gunslinging young quarterback Bryce Young. I don't know what to do with Bryce Young. I don't know what to do with him. Some games he looks unbelievable. Other games he looks like he has no idea what's happening. This is a great game. It's a great week for him. I'm happy for Panther fans. Unbelievable performance, 31.8 fantasy points. Great job. Number 2 was the absolute surprise of the day. And by that I mean not a ton of people had him as the premium back. Everybody was on the Rashad, not everybody, a lot of us were on the Rashad White side of things. But Sean Tucker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers put up 32 fantasy points and absolutely torpedoed a lot of people's days. I know a lot of people were on the Rashad White side. There were quite a few people on the Sean Tucker side. 32 points is nothing to sneeze at. Absolutely dominant performance from Sean Tucker. 32 points. Tampa Bay couldn't get the win, but he was certainly doing everything he could to help. Finally, our number 1 for Week 11 so far is Joshua Allen, 44.7 fantasy points. He had to carry the team. He had to, because they were not getting it done. Amazing performance, big win for Buffalo to keep pace with New England. Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things. What can you say? A rushing touchdown, couple of passing. He was doing everything he could to get that win. We have Cowboys tonight against the Raiders. Should be an interesting matchup. I don't know if anybody's going to get 44.7 fantasy points out of it. Who do you think is going to be the top scorer tonight? Let me know in the comments below. And we will see you next week on our fantasy football recap. Peace.